What is up YouTube, it's the Hobbyist, and in today's video we are going to be looking at a budget deck profile made from 3 of the Order of the Spellcaster structure deck. Well, it was just released on 18th of April, and yeah, I got a budget deck profile that not really competitive, I would say, compared to the salamangreats, but it'll offer you a different type of engine. So anyway, for our extra deck, we're gonna be playing 3 Daybreaker, the Shining Magical Warrior. Nothing much we can do about it. Honestly, this structure deck, I'd see it pairing more with other deck profiles, like for the Spellcaster archetype. Next week, we'll be playing 3 Endemon, the Mighty Master of Magic, obviously. Let's have this in our usual setup. Then we'll be playing 3 Reflection of Endymion. I just realized that the OCG direct translation is actually Empress of the Endymion. Not sure why they changed it to Reflection. So I thought she really looks like she looks more of an Empress to me. So then we'll be playing 3 Servant of Endymion, 3 Magister of Endymion, 2 Magical Abductor, 2 Fairy Tale Luna. And if you realize that all of these monsters is actually this deck is centered around playing spell counters, so it's actually a little bit more difficult to play. So seeing how we're supposed to swarm the field and play a lot of spells to it. So then anyway, we'll be having 3 Droll, Lock, and Bird, one of the most important reprints, the hand traps. Then we'll finally have 2 Spellbook of Magician Prophecy. Magician's Prophecy is simply just to bring out a spellbook card so that we can get our spells up and running. So then we're going to be having 2 Terraforming. Normally with 3 copies I actually just play 1, but since we want to play as many spells as possible, we'll have 2 Terraforming. Then we'll have 3 copies of Magical Citadel of Endemon. Obviously 3 copies. Then we'll have 3 copies of Endemon's Lab. So this card is really interesting because it becomes a Magical Citadel while in the Spell and Trap zone, and then its effect is removing 6 spell counters to special summon 1 level 7 or higher spellcaster monster from your hand or deck. So yep, this is actually one of the setup cards so that we can bring out one of our boss monsters, which would be Endemon, Mighty Master of Magic. I was honestly trying to play around with the deck profile and see if we can add Dark Magician of Chaos, but the balance didn't really work out. But let me know how you guys did it. Then we have 3 copies of Spellbook Mastery. Add 1 Endemon card from your deck to your hand, then you can count the number of Spellbook Mastery and add the spell counters on the cards. So if you realize that this spell counter, this archetype, honestly for me, it's not one of the easiest to play compared to like just normal effect monsters and playing synchros. This is like trying to play pendulum monsters, then add spell counters on it. So in terms of difficulty, it's a little bit higher than normal to get the rules right, but nonetheless, it's pretty fun to play with the spell counters. Now, anyway, we'll be playing 1 Pot of Desires. I've seen some deck profiles that played 2, but the problem with Pot of Desires is that it banishes the top 10 cards from your deck, and in this structure deck, there's nothing for you to bring back the banished cards. So that's essentially like burning through a quarter of your deck. And seeing how we need to get monsters out and play a lot of spells, I try not to do that unless absolutely necessary when we brick. So anyway, we'll have 2 Spellbook of Secrets. Actually, let's get this balanced. So these 2 Spellbook of Secrets, their effect is fairly straightforward. Add a Spellbook card from your deck to your hand, except Spellbook of Secrets. So these 2 cards actually are just designed to help you get more spell counters out. So in terms of spellbooks, we are going to be playing 1 Spellbook of Power, 1 Spellbook of Wisdom. Honestly, I personally feel Spellbook of Power, it's better to play, especially if you're trying to attack But then again, I kept one spell book of wisdom just in case if we have any spells or trap effects happening. So honestly, if we were playing in a more tournament type of situation, I'd say I'd play 2 spellbooks of power and keep this in the side deck just in case, because these days in terms of deck play, we are actually having more hand traps being played than actual spells and traps that target monsters. So now for our final spell card, we have 1 Magical Dimension. Target 1 monster you control, tribute that target, and special summon 1 spellcaster monster from your hand, then destroy 1 monster on the field. Great card to have. In terms of deck flow, not the best. Honestly, I feel like I'm comparing this to like the salamangreats too much, or like years ago the Master of Pendulums. But you know, it's still a structure deck, still good to play. Now for our final 3 traps, we have 2 Magical Circle and 1 Pitch Black Power Stone. So the Magician's Circle actually it allows us to special summon monsters from our deck, and each player gets to do that. So I mean, it's if you're playing against a non-spellcaster type opponent, it's actually not too bad. But if they do, then you learn you do have some form of way of special summoning a monster so that your field isn't left empty. And then we have 1 Pitch Black Power Stone. Activate this card by placing 3 spell counters on it. Then during your turn, target 1 face-up card on the field. Then you can play a spell card on it. Remove 1 spell card, and if you do, place 1 spell counter on that target. And when this last spell counter is removed from this target, destroy it. Yeah, it's it sounds really complicated, but once you play it and get the mechanics right, it's actually pretty useful. By the way, I'm using my Korean Yugi sleeves here, if you guys like it. And really, when these Konami sleeves are actually just out of the world. Like, their quality is really straight and really great to shuffle as I'm playing them. One of my favorite sleeves, like the Dark Magician sleeves. Didn't regret getting them, getting the Korean decks just for the sleeves. So anyway, that's about it for this deck profile. Oh, and the giveaway should still be ongoing. If you guys haven't entered in yet, do check out the link in the description that will be below. I hope I'm pointing in the right direction. And yep, I'll give this video a like, a thumbs up if you're good. Comment down below how you're building your budget structure deck profile out of the Spellcasters, or any other deck types and engines that you might want to add. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.